Welcome. I'm speaking with Dr. Jack Bowman, the director of the Mind Plus Muscle Institute. He's a licensed clinical psychologist and a certified consultant in sports psychology. He also has his own private practice and has developed many performance-enhancing programs like the Mental Training Room, used by many colleges and Olympic training centers. Now, doctor, since this is not a field that most people are familiar with, what exactly does a sports psychologist do?
Actually, I'd like to answer your question by making 3 points. Number one, sports psychology promotes both performance enhancement and personal growth. And number two, all sports psychologists use their time to answer 2 questions continuously. Number one, how does performance affect the psychological wellness or sense of well-being of an athlete? Number two, how do the psychological factors such as thoughts and feelings and emotions affect performance?
So, as head of the Mind Plus Muscle Institute, how has the field of sports psychology evolved since you began?
Well, it's evolved in many different ways. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about the growth of sports psychology in terms of the roles that sports psychologists play. Initially, sports psychology was strictly research, and it occurred in laboratories. From the 1930s up through 1980, most sports psychology was being done in very confined areas and in laboratories with just a few athletes. Since that time, sports psychology has grown into a field where we have 3 aspects now that sports psychologists, or 3 roles that sports psychologists play. Number one is the research role, and we still have sports psychologists at universities who are doing research in laboratory settings. The second is the teaching role. Sports psychology has become a very popular subject. I myself teach at the University of Stony Brook, a course called the Psychology of Sport. I've been teaching it since 1980, and that course is always packed. And third is the consulting role. We work with athletes, coaches, teams to help them to overcome performance barriers. You know, what's getting in the way? So the role of researcher, teacher, and consultant, this is what sports psychology has evolved into.
What type of issues do you most frequently deal with here in the office when athletes come in?
Well, basically the issues that we deal with here have to do with these 4 C's: control, confidence, commitment, and challenge. Athletes have a sense of not being able to control their emotions, you know, at the most important times. So we work with them on that and give them skills to recognize how to practice focusing on the right things rather than the wrong things. Basically, the right things are things that are within their control. So that word control is really kind of instrumental. If you focus on that which is within your control, not things that could happen or what might happen, your emotions and your focus are going to be more steady.
Right.
Challenge is very important. Athletes looking at the magnitude of a big game, and I think that you see this is the level of challenge. It's really high. In order to perform at your best, if the level of challenge is high, your level of confidence has to be that high as well. And also with the confidence, building confidence and commitment. Commitment, how much are you willing to put in to get what you say you want? Napoleon Hill, I think, put it very clearly many years ago in a book called How to Think and Grow Rich. And he said, before you say you want anything, make sure you're perfectly willing to sacrifice what it's going to take to get it. And so we have athletes set meaningful goals and then have an action plan to achieve those goals, so that they're committing not only to what they want, but how they're going to achieve it. And finally, confidence. Confidence is the most important factor, single factor, in all of performance. The more confident you are, the better you're going to perform. And confidence comes from preparation, and confidence comes from focusing on what you're doing well.
Well, thank you very much for your time. This was great. Hopefully we'll see you again. And for more information, you can go to Dr. Bowman's website at mindplusmuscle.com. And this is On the Road with Cavallo. Take care.